What's going on YouTube? So today's video we do have finally an AC. Dr. Prepare came in clutch. They sent out an 8,000 BTU Wi-Fi smart enabled AC unit. That's insane. So thank you for that. This has a 67-inch window kit, which is able to obviously fit up to 67 inches. They do have an adapter for certain different types of windows. I'll leave a link in the description for everything that I'm talking about within this video. Currently, at the time of recording, this is on sale for $224.99, but typically it does retail for $250 MSRP. So you can get this for less than 300 bucks, which is honestly better than having one of these. And if you haven't seen this video, I highly recommend it. Or if you want to wait until you see the comparison video, just wait for that. This also dehumidifies the air, so it'll actually store water in its compartment and you can actually drain it and so on and so forth. This does cover up to 300 square feet, which is good for small bedrooms like mine. Obviously the smaller the better, but for $200, honestly, this is the best possible one that you could easily get. It's less than 50 pounds. I would say it's about 30 to 40 pounds. They protected this thing like crazy, which I really appreciate. The packaging was nice. Now the dehumidification claims to up to 46 pints per day, so that's pretty good in my opinion. I want to say the previous version that we reviewed, the KNKA, we did review a dehumidifier by itself, and that actually does work. In the process, we've seen that video. It does work. It has a pretty good tank, so it's very similar when it comes to that. The capacity is 21.6 liters for the water tank. If it's accumulating about 46 pints, it should be about maybe a week to 2 weeks until you have to, drain it out. The sleep mode does say a 45 decibel rating. It's about the same level as a fridge, I would say. The timer goes up to 24 hours. The minimal window length is 25.6 inches all the way up to 67 inches in length, as well as height technically if you flip it the other way vertically. So whether your ceiling closes horizontally or if it closes vertically, you'll pretty much be good to go. Just measure it beforehand. Now this does have two handles on the side, which is good for easily moving the device with those four casters on the bottom for the wheels. It's good for carpet, hardwood, tile, everything. It's got you. It's obviously a lot better for power consumption since it is easier to use this rather than use an entire AC central system to cool down your house or cool down the entire room. This also does have a removable and washable mesh filter to be able to actually, wash away the dust and particles and pet dander that are on that little filter, which is really nice. So you don't actually have to buy new filters and stuff like that. You just wash this one and you're good to go. This also has a preventing water leakage fail-safe. Whenever the water container itself is getting full, an LED indicator will notify you that it is full, and it'll automatically shut it down. It'll automatically shut down the AC unit, so that way you don't have any water leaks. You can also adjust the air flow directly to adapt to moving it to the left, moving it to the right, moving it up and down, up to 90 degrees, and up to 50 to 60 degrees left and right. This comes with everything you need. It comes with the exhaust hose, the locking screws, the window bracket, the adapter, connector for the adapter, as well as a drainage hose, the remote control itself. It comes with everything that you need. Let's go ahead and set this up for the very first time. First, we're going to go ahead and connect the adapter to the exhaust hose. Once that's secured, and then we can easily install the window bracket, make sure they're both in the right way, adjust it to size, and put it on the window. You might need some extra sealant just so there's no holes or cracks or leaks for air. Slide the hose connector onto the AC unit itself on the back of the device. Connect the adapter to the window bracket, and you're pretty much good to go. Make sure you have the shutter open before you turn it on, and then you can go ahead and turn it on. Which BTU, which capacity would you need depending on your space usage? So for the unit I have is 8,000 BTU, and that's good for about 300 square foot rooms. They also have up to 14,000 BTU units that go good for up to 700 square foot rooms. They have 4 different models for those 4 different price ranges up to that 14,000 BTU, depending on your usage. Yeah, you can feel the hot air. So that's pretty cool. This is what it sounds like. Alright, so obviously this doesn't look the prettiest. But we sealed off pretty much all the gaps. Even the tube itself is really hot. So it is pushing out a lot of the hot air as fast as possible. But if you don't like the look of that, Just cover it with the curtain, cover it with, you know, the window, blinds and stuff like that, and you'll be good to go, you know? So we're gonna leave it on 61 for about an hour, come back, and then we're gonna see what the temperature is at. All right, so we're only 30 minutes into this test, and it dropped about 4 degrees. Before it was close to 80 degrees, now it's at 76. It feels so much better in here. It is a little bit noisy. All right, so even though it is noisy, it does not sound anything close to what it sounds like on the recording. On the recording, it sounds way worse, but in person, it's bearable. It doesn't sound like, you know, a dying machine. Honestly, I prefer that over a very hot room. So this is actually doing its job. It has a really good airflow. I'll show you guys the measurements between the scientific testings on the sound, the speed, and possibly the wattage if I can do that. In just 1 hour, it dropped about 6 degrees. That is crazy fast. Now I think this is not calibrated anymore. It might be a few degrees off. I feel like it's maybe like 3 to 4 degrees off. It still dropped a fair amount very quickly in only an hour. So if we get our temperature gun here, yeah, so it's about 30 degrees with our temperature gun. We will test this out. We also have other testments here. We do have an anemometer here. We're gonna go to test this one out. I'm gonna show you. It is very powerful. It's about 8 to 9 miles per hour, close to 10 miles per hour. The speed, there we go, and now it's max setting. And that goes up to close to 12. Looks like that's 12 miles per hour. And it does blow out very cold air very quickly. Works like a blast. I didn't even realize I didn't have it in the max mode that entire time. So when you turn on sleep, it dims the display. It goes to the first setting. When you activate a timer, you control the timer with the up and down. And then when you're done, you just press it again. There you go, timer is activated. Turn off sleep. It'll go back to this fan speed as well after it's been out of the sleep mode. When you change the mode, right now we're on AC, dehumidify, and then we also do have just a regular fan. So it won't be as loud. As you can see, it still blows out fairly cold air. The device is actually 30 degrees, but it's outputting about 60 degrees Fahrenheit of cold air, which is really, really good. So it's very accurate when it comes to that reading on top. Now, obviously, you do have a water drainage hose here. There's 2 water drainage. There's a water drainage little plug right here. Usually you would have to have the hose already in the unit before you even have to drain it out in the first place. And then there's these filters here. These filters are washable. But you can't get to the bottom one when the hose is on, but you can get to the top one. And this is what that looks like. You can see all that little condensation here in the back. The build quality on this is actually really, really good. And it also has a store placement for the plug itself. Whenever you're not using it, you just unplug this here and you plug it here on the back, and then you're able to store it. Now we're gonna go ahead and measure the wattage. So here we are, this is the watts. Just going to show you that it is resetted. On idle, it is drawing at about half a watt, I would say. We're going to turn it on here. Just give it a second. So the fan mode on the first setting, 115 watts. Let's go fan mode on the second setting. I saw it peak to 144, so we're going to round it off to 145. So we're at 61, the lowest possible degrees, on the first setting for the AC. And it's drawing 680 watts. It's climbing a bit. Yeah, it's still climbing. I'll let that climb until we actually have a steady metric to capture. But that is on the 61 degrees. Alright, so it just keeps climbing, but roughly it's about 780 watts. We'll round it up to 800 watts on the first mode, just to be safe. So on the volume, we do have a decibel meter here. It is about 62 decibels on the first mode for the cooling. All right, second mode now. So it is about 70 decibels on the second mode, so 10 decibels higher. For calculation, I will just do 800 watts and I'll show you guys what that accumulates to. I did see that this was about $75 on the estimated yearly cost, but I will break it down for you guys per hour, the cost, per day, the cost, per month, per week, etc. All right, to calculate the cost of using an AC unit or something like this is very simple. So we use the equation energy equals power times time. So energy equals power times time. Very simple equation. So we grab the watts that were being used. In this case, it was about 700, and we're just going to round it up to 800 for fun. 800 watts. So since this isn't a metric that we need a kilowatt hour. We're going to have to divide this by 1,000. All right, so we're going to divide 800 by 1,000. That's 0.8, right? And that's going to give us 0.8 kilowatts, which is basically exactly what it is. Technically, once you have this down, you don't need a calculator. I'm just showing you guys in person. And then we're going to turn it into the form of time. So let's say you use this in the day for 8 hours, right? We're going to multiply this by 8 hours. Sorry, that's a horrible 8. And then that'll give us our kilowatt hours. So 0.8 times 8. So if we go to our calculator, we go to 0.8 times 8, 6.4 kilowatt hours. Boom. Now we have our form of metric that we needed. Once you have this metric right here, all we have to do is multiply this by the amount of energy that PG&E and your supplier actually charges you per kilowatt. So we're going to do 30 cents in our opinion. That's just here in California, but it'll change over time. So we're going to multiply that by 0.3. Boom, $1.92 every 8 hours. There we go, $1.92 for every 8 hours. So that's worst case scenario. It's about $2 per 8 hours. Let's say you have it all day, every day, turned on for 24 hours. 0.0 kilowatts times 24 hours. So I'm just going to do this without writing it down. So 0.8 times 24. We get this metric, 19.2, and we times that by 30 cents. Boom, $5.76 for if you had it for 24 hours straight, which I love to just round up, obviously. So this is for 24 hours of using it, and this is for 8 hours in the circled. All right, what if you wanted it per week? You're going to grab your cost per 8 hours, times it by 7, and you get your week. You times that by 4, you get your month. You times that by 12, you get your year. $13.72 per week. This is worst case scenario, of course. And then per month, $192 or $13.72 times 4, $54.88. Times this by 12, $658.56. All right, so I'm going to round these up. It's $2 a day, $15 a week, $60 a month, and $700 a year. It estimated about $75, I believe, on the sticker, which that obviously could be correct. It depends on obviously the usage, because we did see a lower metric that was based off of the fan speed, which was less than 200 watts. So it'll cut this down by 4/4. So it'll technically be less than 100 or less than $200 a year. But of course, the price does vary. This is just estimated costing per day, week, month, year. Obviously, every day won't be hot. Every week won't be hot. Every month won't be hot. It'll probably be a couple days a week, and summer only lasts about 3 months. Worst case scenario, yes, you will only be paying about $75 a year. If it was hot every single day, constantly for 8 hours straight, and you're using it for 8 hours straight, that's a hypothetical, unrealistic number, then yes, you will be paying close to $700. That's if you're living in freaking Texas or something, I don't know. But in a realistic situation, you're only really having a couple hot days a week. Let's say there's only a month's worth of hot days. you're basically only going to be paying 55 bucks. So yes, the estimation is correct. And that's per year, since there's only one summer a year. I love that it has child safety lock. You just hold it for a few seconds. A lock indicator will pop up, and no matter what you do, it'll be completely locked. So no one can turn off the power. Even if you press and hold the power, they won't be able to turn it off. You have to unlock it by pressing and hold the lock. Ideal for smaller rooms like this. I'm not going to show most of it, but because it's very dirty. But this is a fairly small room, so you can see right there, it's roughly 12 foot by 8 foot. Alright, so this is the remote. You can see here, it is a IR remote. You have to point at this right here to activate anything. So that's Fahrenheit, and that's Celsius. And then you also do have that the cooling AC dry for dehumidification, and just a regular fan. If we press the dry out mode, it'll actually accumulate, once again, any moisture within the air. And it does that really good with those two back pieces here in the back. And then it also does come with an app. They do have a smart version as well as the remote. This is the smart version, I believe, that they sent out. So it'll automatically include both the remote and the app version itself. So you have 3 ways of controlling it. You have the remote, the touch display, and your phone. Yeah, guys, thank you for watching. If you want to check one of these out, I'll leave a link in the description down below. Without further ado, shout out to Dr. Prepare for actually sending this out for review. And I'll see you guys in the next one. We out.